I see it.
Hey y'all, here we are again. Not sure how many's in here. I know Herb's in here. Two guys in the Ozarks in here. Uh, Same thing as always. Let's see here. I'm gonna ask everybody, please just keep everything clean, the language clean, all that kind of stuff. Everybody kind of respect each other, and let's just have a good time. I
Yeah.
can't see my chat real good, but Herb, if you'll help me out every once in a while, maybe make the post where y'all can come in live and ask things by video if you want to. Not sure how many people's gonna be here since it was kind of just off the cuff.
Am I able to go into the live stream and see, or will that cut out the StreamYard?
I think you can cut off the StreamYard if you do it on your phone.
Okay, I'll just
But
stay on here.
yeah, they'll tell us in here. You can post questions or you can come in and ask questions. There's Adventures of Ken sitting at urgent care. Let's see. He says, let me pull that up, see what it says. Oh, might have a broken foot.
Who
Well,
does?
that's cool. Here's Outdoors with Den, says hi, Herb. So we're going to get started, everybody. Everybody, this is JT,
Yeah.
and he is a bushcrafter, and he is from Kentucky. And we're going to get started with this live. We're going to try to do it for about an hour, hopefully. Please, if you have questions, hit the link, come in, and you can ask by video or post them. Sometimes I miss when they're posted. And one last thing, Herb or somebody, if y'all could post JT's link from time to time, that'd be cool too. All right. So first question, JT, how old were you when you started YouTube?
YouTube.
And
Okay.
then while you're answering, I'd also like the audiences to drop in the comments. Hang on.
Okay.
Yeah, how old were you when you started doing this? And then everybody in the audience, I want their ages when they started camping and thinking about survival and stuff like that.
Okay. So personally, when I was oh yeah, so I get a little nervous on screen, but when so this was 7 years ago, pretty sure 7 years ago. So I would be 17. So I was about 10 years old when I started bushcraft, and I started experimenting with primitive weapons like the spears. I started whittling and stuff like that, and I made let me see. I don't know if I have it or not, but it's a spear. It's a four-pronged spear like this, and it's basically made to stab frog gigging or getting small fish and stuff like that. And it's really nice because it's the use of the prongs. Um, the use of the prongs are to get wider range for different animals and stuff because they're spread out like that. But yeah, I started bushcraft about 7 years ago when I was about 10 years old. I started experimenting with primitive weapons, different things like that. I actually made a tomahawk, but it was made out of the wrong type of rock. So I was hitting trees with it one time. I even tried splitting wood with it, but you're not supposed to do that. So I was splitting wood with it, and I broke the axe head because it was made out of a rock that was not a hard condensed type of rock. It was more or less a softer rock, like hardwood and softwood, something like that.
Yeah. So as far as I'm waiting for people to post in here, nobody's posted when they became interested. Apparently, I don't have a mod in here either, so that's not that great. All right, next question. I want to know about our YouTube personality. Is there any YouTube personality that you've watched that kind of got you more interested or made you determined to follow that path or
Oh,
something like
definitely,
that?
definitely.
Okay, who was that and what did you learn from them?
Okay, so I first off started watching I don't know his name. Yeah, that's the sad part. But he's a primitive. I don't know his name. I could link it in your chat, but I don't know. But yeah, I watched him, and he made different like mud homes and different things like that, and it was pretty cool. But he made like tomahawks and stuff like that, and like bow drills and stuff. Then I stopped watching him, and then I started watching somebody called the Outdoor Boys. He doesn't really do bushcraft, more of an adventure channel. But I started watching him. I got more deep into bushcraft, so I started watching somebody called the Bear Essentials. Then I started watching Woods Bound Outdoors. He's actually subscribed to me, which is pretty cool. He's got over 2.44 million subscribers or something like that. He subscribed to me. I've got
Oh, wow.
I've got a another guy named the Australian Knife Guy. He's commented on my video. He's got over 800,000 subscribers. He does bushcraft too. He lives in Austria, but he's called the Australian Knife Guy, which makes no sense. But yeah, I've done that, and over time, I've just gotten used to more different things and more bushcraft YouTubers.
Yeah. So Lower Michigan is here. I think you know of him.
Yeah, I know him.
He said hi, JT Bushcraft.
I won't be able to see their live because
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I'll tell you everything that's here as far as what I can see. Um, we don't have no mods here, which really stinks.
yeah.
And I tried to make a mod, but it's not working, so we're just stuck with what we got. All right, so I've watched some of your videos and stuff. You really seem kind of like a loner. And the only reason I say that is I'm kind of a loner myself. I've always been very introvert.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I can be extrovert for a very short period of time,
Yeah.
but I like to be alone a lot. I like to be able to just hear quiet. I like to think. Um, if I'm with somebody
100%.
else that's that way, I can get along with them a lot better than somebody who's,
More of the other thing.
yeah, like I
No,
would
I
call them
get that.
pushy, but they're not really pushy. They just seem pushy to me because
Exactly.
they're more like a
Yeah.
hyper chihuahua, you know?
Yes, exactly.
So anyway, let's see. Do you have any friends that are into bushcraft, or do you mostly always do all your camping alone?
More or less alone, but I've not really anybody. I have friends that are doing bushcraft. Really, they want to do some of my channel with me, but I'm a little concerned on how they would uh, um how they would what's the word?
Come across?
Yeah, on bushcraft because they have zero experience. They do camping and stuff, but it's more or less
Right.
a camper van park or whatever.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
yeah,
mine would be cool if you did a camp out with them and videoed yourself like training them different bushcraft skills.
yeah, that definitely would be cool.
I think that'd be interesting.
Yeah,
So right here we got two guys in the Ozarks. I hope I can read this whole thing. I started back about a year ago with bushcraft and camping. YouTube was about 8 months ago. I have been camping since I was in my teens. So
well, nice.
that's cool.
Yeah,
I guess I think Mission Discover's here. Yeah, hey, Mission Discover. What's up, man? Could you possibly do me a favor? I can't figure out how to mod anybody else. Mission Discover is the one that helped me out last night when you couldn't be here. But I'm trying to post JT's link, trying to get it posted from time to time. If somebody can do that, man, I would really appreciate it. I'm trying to post the other link. Anybody with questions can come on in. All right. You kind of answered this question, but not totally. So you've been into bushcraft since you were 10, you said,
yeah.
or
Hmm.
started getting into it. What made you want to actually like put it on YouTube where people could see it and start trying to
So
get followers and that sort of stuff. Because a lot of
starting
times,
YouTube.
yeah, because a
Okay.
lot of times, people that are introverts don't like to be seen
Hmm.
around public. But I know a lot of times they want to share what they got. They're just not a big people person, so it's easier to do it to a camera.
Yeah.
But go ahead and answer
So
the question.
starting YouTube. Um, so I started YouTube around, let's see, about 2024, early 2024, around, what was it, May or April or something like that, around this time. And I started that, and I did different things. I experimented with editing and different things like that. I had a gaming channel that was a survival gaming channel, but I hated gaming. I just thought I'd, experiment with different things that related to survival. And then, because I didn't have the camera equipment back then that I could succeed with to do bushcrafting in a real state in real life. So
Yeah.
I used my knowledge in a game called it's called Rust. Um, but yeah, I used to do different things like that on a game, trying to demonstrate my survival skills. And then I got rid of all those videos and stuff. Then I started Bushcraft, my actual channel, about 2 months ago, and I've already got over what is it,
50.
1,600 subs.
Okay, 1,600.
Hey, is it?
Okay, so here's
Oh,
Lower
I can see.
Michigan. Yeah,
Lower
gonna let
Michigan
him.
Adventures. They
Yeah.
call me Jimmy Boy.
All
Hey,
right,
Jimmy
Yeah.
Jimmy.
boy.
Let's see. You got a question?
You got audio?
Yeah, you're on right now.
Okay. Okay, I didn't know because I couldn't hear. I wasn't sure.
I
Yeah,
heard it
I'm
Okay.
snowed
sorry.
out there.
I'm sorry I had to jump out like I did, but we had that storm that one day.
Yeah, I know.
I
I
I,
understand.
I apologize. I want to show you what I got from Mateo Outdoors if I can. So
Okay.
Okay.
I got some stuff from Mateo Outdoors. Let me see if I can get out of it. I don't know if you've seen this.
What is it?
It's the plane stove.
Oh, cool.
Mateo Outdoors, the plane stove.
Oh, that's really
It's
cool.
the plane stove. He also sent me some maple syrup, but that's in the house.
Does he
Oh
make his own
man.
maple syrup?
Yes, yes. He's got his own little machine and the whole 9 yards.
Oh, that's cool.
So here's another one of the little plane stoves. This is he's got them on his channel. I guess they're for sale or something. He's got a little store for these.
Yeah,
But I don't
the
know
That's
if you've
plane
cool.
seen
stuff.
that before.
What's it do again?
Well, it's an emergency stove, and I guess you can light it and it'll burn for 1 hour. And what he
Oh,
does is he uses his shavings and puts some beeswax or some other kind of stuff with it, and it makes a little tiny stove that you can use for an emergency situation, and it'll burn for an hour. And then this kit right here, I know I'm in a bad lighting. Let me get over here. This kit right here
uh-huh.
actually comes with a foldable stove. So
Oh, that's
this is
cool.
one with a foldable stove. So
Oh yeah, I like that one.
yeah, and I woke up on the wrong side of the bed today, so that's why my hair is a little bit goofy. I had one
Oh,
of
is
Yeah,
those
it?
days. You guys ever have one of those days where you just wake up and you
yeah,
go,
yeah.
you have one of those
I
days,
couldn't
yeah,
tell any. I couldn't tell any difference.
yeah. It was one of those
I'm
days,
kidding.
dude. You got to
I
see this big Jimmy Boy ferro rod I made. Look at
Oh, yeah,
this monster. It's a monster.
yeah.
Oh
What's it
yeah.
made of?
Ah,
Wood?
this is a Jimmy Boy original ferro rod.
It's a fat
Yeah,
wood,
this is
right?
fat wood. It's got a
Yeah.
sticker on the back of it. Or no, it's got, yeah, this is number 3. It's got a sticker right there on the side of it. It's a monster ferro rod. I wish I could flip the camera, but I'm not sure if I know how to do that because I'd show you
It's
my
all
two
right.
new poles. I got two
It's
new
okay.
poles.
Do you have a? Do you
I'm
do you have a? Hey, do you have a question for him real quick? I bring in one
Uh,
person at a time.
okay, I'll just dodge out. I was just gonna say hello and how you doing. I pretty much already had a little interview with them, and we'll
Oh, yeah.
probably do it again some other time where I know that there ain't gonna be a storm rolling in that's gonna
All right.
be horrendous.
Yeah, that storm cut us off pretty bad.
Yeah. All right, guys. I'll let you go so you can bring somebody else up in. Thanks a lot
All
for
right, man.
everything
I'll,
you guys do. Keep up. Hey, did you get my message? I got a package coming your way.
Who?
oh yeah.
You, you,
Me?
you.
Oh,
I
no.
messaged you on Messenger.
Yeah,
Yeah, you want to check that out. I got a package heading your way.
I got your message. I hadn't got the package. Yeah.
By the way, Jimmy,
Yeah,
I'll try and text you. We can schedule a live
yeah,
stream.
yeah. And I want to make you something too. Remember, we were talked
Yeah,
about it.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna when I get closer to getting, I got to get a piece to work with, and then once I get closer, I'll get with you on that. All right.
All right.
All right. Cheerio, guys. Have a good little live stream. And this is Jimmy Boy. They call me Jimmy Boy, and I'm
All
out. Peace out,
See you,
guys.
man. Thanks for
Later.
right.
coming
Yeah.
in.
All right.
Boy, he was quick.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. You ready to continue? Let me see if there's any questions in here. I hadn't been watching. I'm pretty bad about that. No questions so far. Oh, wait a minute. I think there is maybe. Ozark Woodsman's in here now. Let's see. Here's a question that I missed. It said, this is from Herbert. What bushcrafting skill do you find most difficult?
Definitely the bow drill. Definitely a hand drill and bow drill.
And why
Um,
is that?
the reason is um I'm not real fond of it because I feel like since the technology these days, yeah, I mean eventually you're gonna have to use a hand drill or bow drill if you do get stuck in a survival situation. But I always carry one of these ferro rods around, so I can make a fire pretty easy. I always carry one 24/7. And but yes, if I ever lost this, I'd eventually use one of those hand drills or bow drills. Personally, the hand drill is probably the hardest one because you got to use your hands and a long stick.
Yeah. Um, have you ever did flint and steel? I know Woodsman in here, Ozark's Woodsman. He's a buddy of mine, and he just started learning flint and steel. Kind of got obsessed with it once he learned it, and pretty cool. Have you ever done that?
No, I have not. I've definitely heard of it. You can use char cloth and steel wool and like do that with it, right?
Right. Yep. And you can. I think he actually made his own char cloth. You can find
Mm-hmm.
videos how to do that, and then he found him some of the flint rock stuff, and somebody bought him the little metal strikers, and it's actually pretty cool.
One of the
We were
cool
a little
things I
scared he
learned
was
about
going.
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say we were all a little scared he was going to burn the house down when he was making a video, but besides that, it was pretty good.
You can also make sparks with geodes. Did you know that?
I don't know what geode is. I didn't know that.
It's a rock you can find in creeks and they're round. You break
Uh
them
huh.
open. And they got crystals
Okay.
inside.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The stuff he found was out on one of our campouts. A bunch of us went camping together, and he found some of that stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Let me see what the comments say. It, it's he says it's really fun and a good skill to know.
Definitely.
All right. So next question. What's the most important bushcraft skill that you've learned so far?
The most
And then,
important.
yep. And then I'm going to ask the audience while you're answering. I'm going to ask them if you could master one survival skill, what would it be? That's for them. Your question is, what's the most important bushcraft skill you've learned so far?
Oh, that's a tough one. Um, I don't know. The most important one I've learned is fire, personally, because
Okay.
starting fire in a survival situation is so important. Because if you're in a wet or either dry part of the state or something, if it rains, you're gonna have to know how to start a fire in the rain. Because um, what I've learned is fire is so important because in the rain you're not going to start one. So you can either go underneath tree bark or you can go underneath a pile of rocks or something and find dry leaves that fell or
Mm-hmm.
something, and you can crush them up and you can start a fire with that.
Right.
Because in a wet situation, you're going to want to start a fire too.
Yep. I
Hmm.
know there was one time when I was out camping and everything was just soaking wet.
Hmm.
And I looked up under this. It was a huge tree that had fallen, but it was off the ground.
Hmm.
And I was able to get enough dry stuff up under that log to actually start a fire with.
Hmm. It's a very good skill.
So Ozark says you can spark chert to chert as well. That's what he had. He found when we were camping. It's called chert.
Is it a mushroom?
No, it's a rock.
Oh,
No, he's talking about for starting a fire.
oh. Because I'm thinking of something else. I'm thinking of a mushroom that you can use to. It burns for about 3 or 4 days and just smolders.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they used it in the medieval times to carry fire really long distances.
Oh, man, that's cool. I never heard of that.
Yeah, it's a mushroom you can find.
Oh, see. Let's see. Herbert says that his. Let's see. What was the question? If they could master one skill, and Herbert says if he could master one skill, his would be forging.
Foraging. Yeah,
Yep. And then Ozark's Wisdom said primitive fire.
yeah. Ruin the fire. That one.
And then Herbert says chaga, whatever that is.
Chaga, that's the mushroom.
Oh, okay. So he was telling us what you were talking about.
Yeah, chaga mushroom. Yeah,
That's cool, man. I never heard of that.
yeah.
I'll have to look that up.
You can find it on the side of trees. It's like a fungus.
Yeah. I
Mm-hmm.
bet if Mission Discover's in here, he's gonna have one of those chaga mushrooms within 24 hours.
Yeah.
Man, he loves figuring out stuff. Okay. Have you ever had a scary or unexpected moment in the wild? And if so, what was it and what happened?
Scary or unexpected. Uh,
It's both. Yeah. Either.
okay. Well, I did not get it on tape, on recording, but I had a gigantic buck right next to my tent. This was on the hayfield. It was an abandoned hayfield farmstead adventure video, and I was in my tent. You could hear a big buck coming through the woods. I don't know if I think it was a buck because I saw his antler. Yeah, it was a buck, and I saw his antlers. He came right up next to my tent. He was messing around and doing different stuff. He was standing right there in front of my tent. I opened the thing and just ran off. I don't really have any
Did,
scary or unexpected. That's the best thing I got right there.
did it huff and puff at you any or anything?
Yeah, yeah, kind of. Yeah, he made a breathing sounds, something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, huffing and puffing. Yeah.
So when I lived in Oklahoma, there's a wildlife refuge right there where we lived, and
Mm-hmm.
they roam wild there on the refuge. So you can go out camping, and a lot of times you wake up in the middle of the night because you're hearing noise, and it'll be buffalo. They'll just be standing in your campsite, eating or grazing or whatever around
That's
your
scary.
tent.
That's got to be scary. They're
Yeah,
so big.
yeah, it's a little scary if you just stay in your tent. They leave you alone, you know.
Uh huh.
Even if you get out, most of them will just slowly walk away from you.
They're like
Um, the,
cows.
Yeah, because they're used to people at that refuge.
Uh-huh.
If you start being mean to them or chunking rocks at them or scaring them or something, I'm sure they would charge you and hurt you pretty good.
Uh-huh.
But that was really cool. I mean, it's a little scary, but it was really cool.
They're like elephants. They're like big
Oh
American
yeah,
elephants.
yeah. They're huge in the front with little bitty butts
Yeah.
and skinny back legs.
Uh-huh.
All right. Next question. If you could only bring 3 tools into the wild, what would you choose to bring and why?
Well, that's a interesting question. I actually can't choose between a ferro rod and a bic lighter because ferro rod will actually last around the same amount as a bic lighter because bic lighters, when they do run out, they actually produce sparks and you can still start fires with that, but not many sparks. So it's either I'm gonna pick both the bic lighter and the ferro rod because I can't
And one
really
more.
choose between. Huh?
And one more.
And one more. Let's see. Hmm.
No pressure.
I'm thinking probably a hatchet or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, something like that.
I'll tell you, for me, one of the things I talked about this in another live. Let's see. Okay, here's something Herbert says. Let me read this real quick. Herbert says, if I recall, chaga can be found in the eastern U.S.
Yeah, Eastern U.S. That's correct.
Uh, and then Herbert asked the same thing. Did the buck snort?
Yeah, we did.
Okay. Any of y'all, if you want to come in, just hit the link. I've posted it a few times. I don't know if I'm still able to post it or not. I think I can. There it is. And y'all are welcome to come in, ask a couple questions. So here's a question for everybody, including the audience. Which tool would you take? If you could only have one tool, which one would it take? Which one would you take with you into the woods or wilderness? A knife, an axe, or a fire starter?
Firestarter. That's my pick.
Yeah,
No, actually, yeah, Firestarter. I pick Firestarter.
that's what I would do too.
Yeah, you
I
can
mean,
make
because
your own tools.
you can make your own tools, or you can just use your hands and get stuff good enough to make a fire.
Yeah, and shelters.
Yep. So Herbert says a knife. So Herbert's going to be cold out there
Yeah, he's
sawing
gonna be
that tree
cold,
down
but
with his knife.
what type of knife is the question?
Oh yeah, what type of knife are you talking about, Herb?
Yeah,
Woodsman says. Oh, let's see here. Let me bring it up on the screen. I can't read it. It says
high
high
carbon
carbon
knife.
knife.
Definitely. Solid pick. Definitely.
All right, that's a good one. Anybody can, y'all can keep answering if you want to. Do you have? Let's see. Do you have a favorite bush meal?
A bush what?
Bushcraft meal. Bushcraft meal.
Oh, easily noodles.
And what's the reason for that?
They all you gotta do is boil water in a pot and just
Yeah,
cook them. And they're
yeah,
compact and lightweight, like ramen noodles. You can use those because they're so lightweight, they weigh little to nothing.
yeah. You know, the only thing about ramen noodles, to me, sometimes I get nervous about using them on campouts because so many people use them on campouts.
Uh-huh.
Or same way with the instant meals,
Mm-hmm.
that you buy at Walmart or something. It's like so many people use those. To me, it worries me sometimes that it might get uninteresting to people. But for sure, if you're out there hiking, walking, to me, that's the kind of stuff you'd want too. That's what I
There's
think.
also dehydrated meals. You can use those.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
A lot of people's using those, and I think they're good, but I think so many people use them. I think they might get boring on videos to people
Hmm.
sometimes. But also as gross as it is, those ramen noodles, you can eat those things raw if you have to. They're
True.
crunchy,
Yeah.
but you can do it.
Yeah.
Herbert says beans,
Beans. Yeah. Beans are
and
good too.
Ozark Woodsman says beans.
Yeah. Definitely.
Outdoors with Den says rice.
Rice is a good one too.
And then Herbert says, I can make a fire without a lighter.
Yeah. True.
So he's trying to tell us he ain't going to be cold with his knife out in the woods.
Yeah. Look at this
What?
sunflower seed. I found that. It's not a sunflower seed, but I found it in there. You see it?
Yeah, I have found stuff like that in my bag of seeds before.
Yeah.
You can chew on it. It'd be nice and salty and taste good. I don't know if you can swallow it.
It's okay. It's okay. Oh,
All right. What's
never
a
mind.
bushcraft skill you're still working on improving?
Bow drill and hand drill. Can't do them
Okay.
with a crud.
Uh, Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Uh, is there a bushcraft myth or misconception you wish people would stop believing?
Oh, yeah. There's tons of those. I'm just trying to think of one. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's one of those type of things you hear them all the time, but then when you're asked about them, you can't think fast enough.
Yeah. Exactly. Uh, yeah. Uh,
I'm looking
oh,
over the
this one's a hard
question.
one.
Audience, if you have one, you can tell me.
Yeah, I can't
Bushcraft
think of
myth.
one.
Okay. Let's see here.
I don't know
I'll
if
tell
this
you
is
what. Go ahead.
I
You
don't
go
think
ahead.
this is a myth, but I see those people online who just randomly take random objects they find and they make stuff with them. Have you seen those videos of those people who will just take? It's not like a myth or anything, but I've seen people take find knives in the wild and stuff like that. But it's not true.
Yeah.
It's on YouTube videos. They set them up. It's
Yeah.
they pretend. Have you seen stuff like that before?
I have seen, let me tell you about this one. I like telling people about this one. So I was watching this one guy. He wasn't bushcrafting. He was out in the middle of nowhere.
Uh
He
huh.
was miles and miles from cars and houses and everything out in the middle of the woods in
Yeah.
this little tent, and it was snowing a blizzard, and he was going
Hmm.
to survive overnight. And he kept emphasizing how he was so many miles out there and nobody could get to him except for by helicopter if something was to happen.
Uh huh.
Well, he didn't edit too good because one of the clips that he accidentally left in his video was a shot from above his camp, and you saw car tracks around his tent.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen those before
So,
on primitive
yeah,
technology videos too.
I think he probably had a RV camper out there or something sleeping in it and moved it out of
I
the
believe so.
way. So anyway, but another thing that I don't know if this is a myth or if it's just wrong. Let's see. Herbert says solo survival adventure. Oh, solo surviving. Hang on, I got to put this on the screen. Ozark Woodsman says one of the myths is that making furniture is bushcraft. I I don't. Why is that not bushcraft? That's what I'd like to know. I mean, I'm not arguing because I don't. I guess I'm not real good at knowing what bushcraft is. I thought it was just mostly building stuff with sticks, shelters, and furniture and stuff like that.
Well,
What
what
was
did
your
he say?
longest?
I didn't hear.
Oh, I'm sorry. The question was, what's the myth of stuff that's bushcraft? And he says building furniture.
Building furniture.
Yeah,
Well,
I guess making furniture isn't a bushcraft skill, according to Ozark's Woodsman.
yeah, I could see that. Kind of. A little bit. Somewhat.
If I'm understanding him right.
Yeah. I'm not sure I'm understanding it right either.
Herbert's question was, what was your longest solo survival adventure? Oh, that's a good question.
That's a good question. Um, Solo survival. Since my parents are really strict on these things, just about a day, a night. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really strict on that stuff.
Okay. Ozark Woodsman says bushcraft is a nomadic style of camping. They do not
Oh,
stay in one place too long. That's a good point. I never thought about that.
that is
So,
a very good point right there.
yeah, they would probably do something more like just pull up a log to sit on because they're going to be leaving in a day or two.
Yeah, because in a survival situation, you're not going to have all the materials in one place.
Yep.
You have to travel.
Yeah.
That's definitely a good
Also,
point. I never thought of that.
one of the things that I think is a myth, everybody says, or I hear a lot of people saying, it's not necessarily bushcraft, but I hear a lot of people saying you don't have to worry about bears in the winter. They're hibernating. And I know around here, that's not true. They're still out in the wintertime
Mhm.
here, even when it's snowing and stuff, I believe.
The
So,
only bear we have is black bear out here.
yeah, that's what we have here too.
Hmm.
But they get caught this past winter. Uh, one of the guys that come into my work, his son was out there trying to hunt out in their field in the cold. Stay out there a little while, then he left. 5 minutes later, it showed black bear wandering around out there where his son was.
Uh-huh.
So, okay, we're getting there. I probably won't ask all of these. Ask a few more, and then maybe get you to show us some stuff. Let's see. Have you ever taught someone else bushcraft skills? How was that experience?
Uh, hmm. Well,
Like your friends?
friends. Uh, yeah, I've taught them before. I've taught them how to start fires with a Ferris rod because they didn't know how to do nothing. They're not very good at bushcraft. All they do is camping. They use lighters and stuff. So I just taught them how to do a Ferris rod. Nothing big.
Did they like it?
Uh,
Did they think
I'd
it was
say so.
cool? Yeah.
Eh, they were mad about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not really into bushcraft. They're more into
Yeah.
like video games and stuff.
Yeah, I got you. I know. I know what you're talking about. What is the most underrated piece of gear or bushcraft tip you know? Let's
Oh,
just
that
go
one.
with let's just go with gear. What's the most underrated piece of gear?
Oh, I got one. Not
Okay.
a lot of people put garbage bags or liners inside of their bag
Okay.
because when your stuff
Like
gets wet, you're gonna die. Basically, if you were in a survival situation where you were in the dead of Alaska, you had something that like a hot tent or something. If your sleeping bag gets wet, if your tent gets wet, you're dead. You're dead. You're dead. 100%. You're not surviving a wet, cold situation.
yeah, especially if you're up in the
Dead cold.
super cold places.
Mm-hmm.
That's a that's a good point.
Bag
Um,
line is very important.
yep. I've always heard too, even if you're warm and you feel dry, when you go and you're working in the cold and setting up your
Sweat.
camp and stuff, yep, even if you feel like you're not wet, take your socks off and stuff like that, and your pants. I've always heard get your pants off, all that stuff, because it's probably sweaty and you're going to end up getting colder that way in the long run.
Yeah, I woke up on that adventure in the abandoned hayfield thing. I woke up
Yeah.
there and it was I was super wet in the morning because I forgot to take my stuff.
So we got a question from Outdoors Den, and then we got a question from Connie with Snips and Snaps. She's in Canada.
Oh, that's really
Uh,
cool.
yeah. So Outdoors Den says, JT, what state are you from, or what state are you
Kentucky,
in?
Central Kentucky.
Central Kentucky.
Yeah, I wish I was more out east
Why is that?
because more woods over there, more things to do, more bushcraft stuff. You know,
Yeah.
Central Kentucky is more filled with houses and different farms and stuff. It's not really woods; it's more farmland.
Yeah. So, okay, Snips and Snaps. I thought it was more of a question. It's a statement. She just says, hey, all, just listening, didn't clue in on time. Uh, this was on. She is going to be on here next week, next Thursday.
Oh, all right.
Yep. And that's going to be really cool. She's going to show off a lot of her stuff. She actually lives, dude, you'd like where she lives. She lives out in the middle of nowhere. I think she told me she's like 60 miles from survival. She don't have utilities or anything.
Wow,
I mean,
that is
she just
awesome.
lived out in the sticks, and she has built her own little cabins.
That's
It's
awesome.
it's pretty it's pretty cool watching her. Um, anyway, it's called Snips and Snaps.
Yeah, I've always
Let's
wanted to do
see.
that. It sounds pretty cool.
Oh man, yeah, I'd like to do it too. Bushcrafter. Let's see. This is Ozarks Woodsman. It says Bushcrafters are minimalist, usually carrying no more than 3 or 4 items: knife, blanket, container, possibly some dried meat.
I agree on that. That's good. Yeah,
Are you able to see those questions when I pop them up there?
yeah, I can see them. Yeah,
Okay, I
so
might let you read it next time because it's real hard for me to see.
yeah, definitely. I agree. That's what I'm doing is more or less camping. I wouldn't say it's bushcraft right now. I need to get more into bushcraft, but since my parents are, you know, they're a little stricter on these things, and we don't have many places to do bushcraft in Kentucky. But yeah, I agree. Definitely, bushcraft is definitely something like that, where you take a minimalist amount of items. Yes, I agree.
Okay, what's your go-to shelter setup and why does it work for you? If you were going out into the wilderness to build one shelter tonight, let's say, what shelter would you choose to build and why?
Do I have any items with it, or just middle of nowhere, just nothing right now?
It's whatever you want.
Um,
Let's say you have nothing but your minimal gear.
okay. So I am in the middle of nowhere. So what I would do is I would find a fallen branch that is pretty close to the ground, about maybe 2 feet above the ground, that's fallen down. I'd drape over a tarp or a bunch of sticks and some moss and pile it up there, and that would keep me safe. It's so quick to make. It's very quick to make.
Okay. That's a
If
good
I was
answer.
close to night and stuff.
Yeah. Okay, Ozarks Woodsman has a question. You can read that one.
Yeah, I'd
What?
call it
Oh,
cowboy camping or campcraft. Yeah, I agree.
yeah, what you're doing. All right, let's see here. Couple more and then we'll be done with the question part. Do you build your own traps? Do you use traps? Oh, do you build your own traps or do you use traps that you've purchased or do you not do traps yet?
Don't really do traps. I've tried them before. I'm still working on the skills of traps. Snare
Okay.
traps are easy. I'm trying to do the primitive part.
Yeah. Okay. What is your biggest piece of advice for beginners just starting to learn bushcraft?
Bring a lighter at all times. No doubt. Bring 3 lighters at all times. Bring 3 big lighters. You're gonna
Yeah.
need them because just bringing a Ferris rod on your first time out, you're not going to start a fire. I don't care who you are. You're not going to start a fire.
Okay.
It's definitely hard. You bring 3 Bic lighters.
Got 2 more questions. Where's one? If you could go any place right now to do a bushcraft adventure, anywhere in the world, where would you go?
Well, personally, with my skills, let's see, Appalachian Mountains, because I'm from around the Appalachian Mountains. I reside somewhere around those areas. So definitely the Appalachian Mountains. I'm more familiar with that terrain. Um, somewhere like somewhere like Arkansas, I couldn't do that. I don't know. I'm not familiar with that stuff. So I would have to go do things like that to get more familiar. So definitely somewhere around the Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, Michigan, something like that. Pennsylvania,
Right.
eastern states.
All right. Last question. Then I'd want you to show us some of your stuff, if you will.
Okay.
So you have just started a bushcraft workshop, and there are some kids and teenagers that have just showed up to learn something. What's the first thing you're going to teach them?
First thing. So uh so there's people that I'm going to teach, right?
Yep.
Let's see. Well, I know a lot of people. If I were to give a random person in the city right now, like somewhere in New York right now, gave them a lighter and tell them to go out in the wild and start a fire, they would not be able to do it. I can tell
Right.
you why. Because they don't know what to use. They've never heard of bushcraft or any of that. They're going to need to know how to use a lighter to start a fire because they don't know if you need big sticks, little sticks. They don't know that. Definitely,
Right.
I'll teach them the skills of a lighter first.
Okay. I think going along with that, one of the things that I remember Boy Scouts that was so important was I never could get a fire going because I was always in such a hurry. I'd be cold or something. And so I'm like rushing
Uh-huh.
around. I'm grabbing these big old sticks and throwing them on there. And I want
Yeah.
fuel to keep throwing on it. And, and finally, they got it through my head after watching them several times. It's like, if you will, no matter how cold you are, if you will just take your time, as much time as you can, and start out with the tiniest thing. I mean, if you can find sticks as thin as your hair, you
Yeah.
know, do that, and then build up to something bigger, and then bigger, and then build it that way. And then I was always taught start with a teepee fire because they burn faster. They start faster and burn faster. And then if you want it to go a little longer, once it gets built, I've heard go with a log cabin fire,
Yeah.
and it'll burn a little longer. So seems like, I mean, fire for sure seems to be, me, in my opinion, the number one thing all the time. Fire, 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 food, water. It seems like,
Boil
I don't
water.
know if
Yeah.
that's true.
You're going to need a boil of water to drink it. With water will sustain somebody for a month or two at a time. If you're on the bigger side, it'll sustain you for a few more months. You
Yeah.
need water.
Yep. And
It's a
patience,
great way of
wisdom
losing
says.
weight too.
And then let's see. Nature Inspired says, good points. Let me bring this up here. I can see it better. She says, good points. Know your surroundings.
Definitely, yes.
That's Miss Canada there.
Yeah, it's
I just
Canada.
think that's so cool because I've always loved Canada so much.
I've
I
never
think
been
it's
there. I
so.
want to go there though,
I've
badly.
never been there either, but it's one of the most beautiful places on earth, I think.
The Canadian Rockies is where I want to go.
Yeah, I've
That's
seen
where.
my other.
Do you know where? Do you know who Ovens Rocky Mountain Bushcraft is?
I don't know.
He's a severe bushcrafter. I'm sure Canada has heard of her. Heard of him. He lives in the Canadian Rockies in the dead middle of nowhere. He also has a
Yeah,
tent. I mean, he also has a teepee he lives in.
yeah.
So,
I'd like to get TP. I've been wanting to get TP for a while, but
yeah.
let's see. Ozark Woodsman says Ozark Mountains are very similar to the Smoky Mountains. Have you ever been to the Ozarks, like in Missouri?
No, never have. No.
It's really funny because I moved here and I've always heard about the Ozark Mountains. And I moved here in one weekend. I left Oklahoma, came here on a Friday night, determined I was going to find me a house to live in Saturday, which I did, a cheap one.
Uh huh.
Left Sunday, went back home, went to my work on Monday, gave a 2-week notice. I didn't know anybody here, never been here before, nothing. And so I've always heard of the Ozark Mountains. So when I finally moved here, one of my first things I started doing was looking up where's the snow mountain at, you know? Well, come to find
Hmm.
out there's really not mountains here. They call them mountains, but they're just big hills.
No, yeah. We
Either
got
big
tons of
hills or
those
small
everywhere.
mountains. But it is beautiful here. There's water everywhere. The Mark Twain National Forest surrounds us. It's everywhere, dude. Everywhere.
Yeah.
30 minutes from my house
Uh huh.
is I can go camp anytime I want to out at Mark Twain National Forest.
You can. Like, there's no limits. Like, you can
Nope.
do.
You can go out there anywhere you want. You can do anything you want. You can cut trees down. You can have fires. You can hunt.
Dang. Yeah, you can't do
Um,
that here. You cannot do that
yeah,
here. I'd call yourself lucky. Wow, that's really cool because
it's
I
awesome.
can't
I
do that.
mean, they do have some standards. I mean, they don't want you out there cutting down live tree, you know?
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Well,
deadwood
Deadwood. Yeah.
and burning fires, and it's awesome. I love it around here. Let me get to these questions real quick. Bank Beaters Outdoors says, JT, what is the biggest challenge you had to overcome in the outdoors? Example, learning primitive fire skills. So what's your biggest challenge so far? That's what Bank Beaters wants to know. Howdy, Bank Beaters.
Biggest challenge. Okay, yeah. Biggest challenge. Let's see. Um, I always have a tendency to overdo things, and I'll run out of daylight. So, for
Oh,
instance, I'll make a shelter, or I'll set up a tent, and I'll run out of daylight because I overdo things. I over prepare and stuff.
dude, you sound just like me. I can get out there. It don't matter if I'm out there 5 hours before dark. I'm still running out of time and end up having to cook my meal after it's dark.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
that. That's funny. That made me laugh because that's
Yeah.
okay. Here's another one. This is this is Miss Canada, nature inspired Connie. She says, "Yup, that is why I came west Rockies. Yes, no Greg's show. Cool, JT. You are very keen.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, let's see if we got Bank Beater says howdy. I missed that Bank Beaters. I'm sorry when you said howdy. I probably missed a lot of things. If I've missed y'all, also, I know I say this all the time. I don't know why. Let's see. I'm trying to hang on a second. If anybody has that link, could you repost it, please? So if anybody wants to come in live and ask a couple questions, can y'all repost that? I'm not able to repost it right now for some reason. Okay, so why don't you show us a couple of things that, or a few things that you've made, whatever you've got there that you want to show. Oh, I keep
Uh-huh.
doing that. Hang on a minute. Whatever you got that you want to show and kind of tell us what it is and where it came from and all that stuff.
All right. Well, let's start off with the primitive stuff. I've got a few things. Hold on.
Hey, Mission, what's up, man?
Let me go get them. They're over here. This is the 4-pronged spear. I probably should make these a little bit wider. Something you can stick a stick in there. This is a knife, but you can stick a stick in there and make them more wider, like this.
Right.
Yeah, this is my 4-pronged spear. This is a primitive weapon, I'd say. These are surprisingly underrated, or I don't know the word, but yeah, they need to be used a lot more often. You don't have to bring a fishing pole if you're out in the creek or something. You can easily catch fish like that. Let me get my stool.
And what is that made out of?
This is a softwood. I have no clue what it's made out of. I just found it and I just made it. I actually have a video on it. It was an older
You made it
video
out of a
though.
stick.
Yeah,
Have you
definitely.
killed anything with it?
No, I don't. I haven't used it yet.
Oh, pretty cool looking though.
Yeah, I also have a stone spear, but I made this when I was really young.
That's cool that you kept it. Hey,
Yeah,
what
sorry.
is that mushroom
It's called
that
chaga. Chaga.
chaga? I was Mission Discovers back. Mission, I don't know if you've heard of the chaga mushroom. It burns for a long time and you can carry it from place to place. Is that what you were saying?
Yep, and it smolders basically.
Yeah, JT and Herb was talking about it. And I had made the comment, I'm like, man, if Mission Discovers in here, he'll have one of those things within 24 hours because he likes trying all that kind of stuff. So, what else you got for us?
Let's see. Well, I recommend when you're out doing bushcraft, thicker clothes, definitely, like real thick fibers.
Uh
So yeah, you'll get all tore up. You don't want to bring your dress clothes or anything. That's a.
huh.
Let me see. I don't know if you can see this or not. I got a vest right here. This is a. This is a made of real thick fibers, real thick. You can use this. It won't get tore up at all.
Okay. What?
This is cotton. This will get tore up. This is cotton. It'll get tore up because it's all softened. It'll catch twigs and stuff. What
And
else?
what brand is that?
Brand. I think it's a Carhartt. I think so. Let me see. That's a. It's Lee actually.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me see.
Nature Inspired says, okay, chaga answered my question. I have chaga. Thanks.
Uh, let's see. Orange peels. Orange peels. Dried orange peels. They burn like an inferno. They're really good. Uh, that's some old orange peels. They don't smell too good, but dried orange peels. If you drench like fire starter on them,
Uh huh.
they'll burn for about 15 minutes. This little piece will burn for about 15 minutes.
Cool.
Dried orange peels and fire starter.
Does it burn or does it smolder?
It burns like a flame. It's really good.
Okay. Is it covered
Really
in
good.
wax or it's just a dried peel?
It's a dried peel with Rutland fire starter on it.
Okay.
Yeah, just holding up my
Uh,
phone right now.
so Byron came in the room from Byron's Baits. He says, nice camping selection.
Yeah, I appreciate that. This is a Swiss made SIG bottle. Bring metal bottles when you're out camping because you don't have to, but I suggest doing it because you can boil things in them. It's really
Right.
useful. You stick them in your sleeping bag and keep you warm. What else do I have? Folding saw. Folding saws are really useful. This is an old one. This is my grandpa's. It's actually I think he made this one, to be honest. There's a button on it, if you can see that.
Yep.
That's I ain't never seen one of a button folding saw. It's really cool.
Where's your axe at? Last time you couldn't find your axe.
My axe. Yeah, I couldn't find it. It's an old one I bought. What?
I was laughing.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah. Sorry, what?
nothing, man. I'm struggling here. I keep hitting my tripod.
Oh, okay. Uh, I got a tarp. Tarps are really good. I bring one every time because in case you have your cover ripped or something on your tent, you're gonna probably want to bring one of those. I got a sleeping bag right here. Let me get it. Oh, this stuff is gonna fall. Let me move it over here. But oh, first aid kit. You're gonna want to bring a first aid kit when you're out camping too.
Yeah. I
This
saw
is
you
really
take that thing apart the other day. Was it hard to get put back together?
cool.
There's a
Probably
lot of
some stick
stuff
it
in
in
there.
there, really. But yeah, it came with this really cruddy flashlight. Really bad.
Yep.
But it's really useful because you're gonna want to bring some. You're gonna want to bring a first aid kit because on an adventure, because you're gonna want to bring one because if you fall or get a cut or something, you're gonna want to patch that up. You risk infections. That's what will kill
Yeah.
you in a survival situation is infections.
Yep.
Especially speaking of infections, there's nothing disgusting. I'm not gonna bring anything up like that. But in the Amazon, I also want to go to the Amazon and survive. But that's way beyond my level. Even though I've been doing this for 7 years, that's way beyond my level. Oh,
Right.
my phone is at 5%, dude.
Okay. One last thing. Mission Discover says single wall. I'm not sure what he's talking about. I don't know if he's talking about your jacket or
What did they say?
single wall.
Single wall.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I missed it when he put it out there. I'm slow.
Yeah. What
All right,
else?
man.
All
Is
right.
there any last thing you want to say to everybody? First, I'll say, if y'all haven't, let's see, real quick. Here's Nature Inspired. She says, tent. Oh, I guess he's talking about a tent, single wall tent.
Yeah, that.
So,
Mhm.
everybody, if you haven't checked out JT's channel, please go check it out. It's been posted in here a couple times. If somebody can, please post it one more time. And then check out some of his videos, give him some likes, give him some thumbs up, and support him a little bit. He's done really good, really good. He's got around 1,600 subscribers. And he did that within what amount of time was that?
2 months. About a month and a
2 months,
half, actually. Yeah.
month and a half to 2 months, which is really good. And dude, I think you're onto something. Let me get you off of this.
Definitely. Two of my biggest
Yeah,
dreams is to become the one of the biggest bushcraft YouTubers on the planet, and to become a full-time YouTuber.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're doing good, and I think you're onto something. I think one of the things I would say as far as advice, not that my advice is that great, but be humble, man, and stay humble. If you get a
Yeah.
lot of followers, don't start getting a big head. If you start getting a little bit famous, because I've seen it so many times, people seem to be so down to earth
Full of
and
themselves.
and
Yeah.
with their people, but then when they get a couple of thousand subscribers or so, all of a sudden they think they're hot shot and they don't have time to talk to the lower people anymore. But it's
Exactly.
the lower people that's going to get you where you want to be. So
Yeah. I reply to
always
all my
stay.
comments. Every single
Yeah,
one.
that's good.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Let me look one last time, see if there's any more hunting and stuff with J&J says hello. Got here just in time for us to end, I think. His battery's fixing to die. Snips and Snaps says congratulations, JT, on your subscribers.
Thank you.
And Ozark Woodsman just posted your link again.
All right.
So I think we're done, man, unless you got anything else.
I think that's it. We can do another live one some other time, I guess.
Yeah, I'll text you.
All right,
I
sounds
enjoyed
good.
it. All right, man. Have a good night. Thank you for coming on here.
You too. Thank you.
All right. See ya. All right, everybody. That's it. Appreciate you coming in. I'm going to try to go camping tonight. I got my stuff ready, got it out in the truck. I hope I'm able to do it. It's a little bit of a scary one, but you know me, I'm scared of everything. So hopefully it'll go right. Anyway, JT just texted and said, thank you, man. That was cool. All right. I'm going to go ahead and end this. I hope y'all have a good weekend. If y'all know 210, he's part of our group and they're having some, they had a family emergency. So if y'all could just keep them in your prayers, would really appreciate it. And next Thursday, I'm going to have Connie from Snips and Snaps from Canada. She was in here tonight. If she may still be in here. She's going to be here. And that's going to be exciting. You're going to get to see where she lives, how she lives with no utilities, all that stuff. It's really cool. So, all right. We will talk to y'all later. Bye.